I want an all-around workhorse camera, something that I can take on my family trips, something I can use to do talking heads like this for YouTube, and I want a one lens system. I want a simple workflow, one camera, one lens that I can take everywhere and do everything with. So I put this X-T4 up against this EOS RP to see what it's like. Does the Fujifilm X-T4 autofocus and bokeh keep up with the EOS RP? Does the form factor and the user experience really get in the way, or does it enhance my workflow? And so we're gonna look at these two cameras. Image stabilization, really good. Really impressed, really surprised with the stabilization. You won't need a gimbal at all with this. I'm walking here on a somewhat, rough path here, similar to a pretty flat hike. Just really good stabilization. What's not really good is the user experience, the ergonomics on the camera. I would be kind of wary of holding this thing with just one hand. The grip is like super shallow. User experience, I'm a prosumer, I'm an amateur videographer. I'm not into like the specs and the ISO levels and I'm not into the settings. Like, I just want to turn the camera on, point it at something, shoot something, compose something, and have it look awesome. If you're like that, this camera is not for you. This X-T4 is not for you. Just changing the frame rates from 24 FPS to 120 FPS. Say your kid's about to go down a slide and you want to capture that in slow-mo, you want to capture the sheer joy on their face. Well, you're probably not going to get it because it takes like 10 different clicks to change from 24 to 120 and then change the shutter speed, and then it's just a lot. And there's no custom profiles on this. Like, that was a huge miss. If you're into cameras for the experience, the shooting experience, changing different settings, like X-T4 is going to be awesome for you. You're going to love it. That's the whole, Fuji experience, if you will. But if you're like me, if you've got a camera to capture moments and not care about so much the settings, probably stick to an A7C or EOS RP, Canon M50, one of those. What is really surprising about this camera is the dynamic range on it. I'm gonna show some B-roll for you guys. It's awesome. It's super amazing, super surprising. I was just straight up not expecting it. I didn't catch it until I had it side by side with the EOS RP. Just kind of assumed a full frame camera had better dynamic range, which is totally false. The bokeh 2, just kind of assumed, hey, if you've got two f2.8 aperture lenses, the APS-C one would have less bokeh because of, I don't know, that's the way sensors are built, I think. But totally not the case. I was completely off on that. Pretty surprising. And then last but not least is the autofocus. Not perfect by any means on this X-T4. A lot of, dancing around, jitteriness. But, given everything else that this small camera offers, it's not bad, it's just too many things missing. For me, someone who wants to just take a camera out and go shoot and capture stuff, this camera has too many little glitches, right? So the fact that I can't hold it on the grip with one hand securely, the fact that autofocus isn't flawless, the fact that if I want to capture something in a different frame rate, I gotta do 10 different clicks. Like, all of those things combined make it so that this is not a compelling purchase for me. If it was like one, maybe two of those things, then yeah, okay, maybe I can get around it. But essentially for me, someone who wants to pick up a camera and go shoot, the benefit of IBIS and the dynamic range and the smaller form factor, they don't make up for the user experience and the ergonomics. And not to mention, this thing is smaller, but I've been vlogging for 5 minutes now, and it's as hefty as the EOS RP. It's 130 grams lighter, but it's not small by any means. So both cameras are more than capable of producing a beautiful image with beautiful colors, beautiful bokeh, beautiful autofocus, and so really what it comes down to is the user experience between the two. The Fuji is going to be more about these modes and dials, about pushing the buttons and messing with the settings to capture a beautiful image, whereas the EOS RP, you can dial everything in and then just switch between custom modes, switch easily between picture and video profiles, picture and video modes to capture the moment that you need to capture. For my purposes, a run and gun type of video capture moment sort of process and workflow, I'm going to be using the 24-70 lens on the EOS RP or the 16-55 on the Fuji, both of which are similar size and weight, so there's not much difference there. At some point you'll have to decide how much do the Fuji colors, how much does the color science, how much does the bokeh play into everything. And for me, I realized that those things aren't as important to me than capturing a nice shot. At the end of the day, no one on YouTube is going to say, oh, those colors are awful, and I'm not interested in color grading and any of that, because to me, it's all about capturing the image and having that memory stored in my head. I don't really care about the aesthetics. So both of these cameras are super capable cameras. At the end of the day, I think you have to ask yourself one question and one question only. Do you want to get a camera to create art, to create something beautiful, and to enjoy the process of getting that shot? Do you want to mess with the settings? Or do you want to focus on capturing moments? Do you want to focus on composing a shot? As for me, I want to focus on a streamlined workflow, on composing a shot, on making it as easy as possible to capture a moment. And so for now, I'm sticking with the EOS RP because I can switch between custom modes and call it a day. But I do look forward to the Mark II, to the V2 of this camera, where I can play with 120 frames per second with IBIS, and hopefully get something with better dynamic range. I hope this video was helpful to you. Make it a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one.